to 600 likes to show the algorithm that we mean business. And you got to show the algorithm, because if not, they will ignore your ass. So you got to put up the numbers. So look, guys, I need you to work with me. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. What else? Oh, if you're on Facebook and if you're on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Hit the like button. You can go back. Come on, the gas. You ain't got to spend gas money. Open another app and come over to YouTube. Hit the like button for a brother. You know what I'm saying? And if you do that, by the way, let me know I shot you out. Okay, so I'm gonna shout you out if you do that, because I know that. I mean, I just want to show the love, baby. Let me show some love. All right, so thank you, Panther Strike. Let's get it on, Panther Strike says. Let's get it on. Let's rumble, baby. Let's rumble. Yo, what's up, fam? I love that avatar, man, by the way, family. That's one of them avatars right there, man, that I definitely rock with. Let's do this, guys. He's right, man. When you're right, you're right. He's got a good point. He or she. Johnson, see, that's why I say Johnson's. That Johnson has a good point, Johnson. So Kamala Harris went on a couple of platforms. She went on Fox News, and she went on Charlamagne Tha God. I don't even know which one to start first. How about we do this? 5 quickest responses will determine what we go with first. Should we go with Fox News first and break that down, or do we start off with Charlamagne and Kamala Harris? Which one do we do first? Give me a 1 if you want Fox News. Give me a 2 if you want Charlamagne. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And we're going to look at that real quick. And then we're going to give it like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. People to tap in real quick. Shouldn't take that long. Find the one on your keyboard or one on your smartphone or whatever. Tap that real quick, guys, and we'll decide which ones based on a cursory examination of the comment section. We'll see what we got here. One. So, okay, I'm scrolling up. Thank you guys for coming through. Man, you guys are amazing. I think we're overwhelmingly, we got Fox News want to go first. So let's do it, Johnson. Maybe that's because everyone's seen her on Charlamagne. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the Fox News. And I think you chose right because we have a full video. Folks, let's do this. Kamala Harris, Brett Baer. Baer or Bauer? Brett Baer. I think it's Baer. Brett Baer, Fox News.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is.
You know, guys, this is disturbing right off the break. This is the first question. None of this has been edited by me. She said it already. You already know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know what I'm going to talk about, which is, I'm not going to answer questions. Yeah, I came on your platform not to answer questions. I came here to do a bunch of talking points and not answer questions. Even the opening question that has no ambiguity. That's right there, the first question. You can't be like on another talking point. It just started. And she out the gate announces to the whole world she is not going to provide us with any information that's going to be useful. She's not going to speak directly, respond directly to any questions. And she said, I'm not. Brett, I'm not going to answer your questions, Brett. That would take a person who wants an open dialogue. That would take a person that respects all these independent viewers that I'm trying to reach, who might want an answer to the question. Now, I'm about to word salad the hell out of this and make up excuses and blame the previous administration. This is what we're dealing with.
That we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, since Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the elite. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing.
Crash and burn, thunder, lightning, things falling over, cats and dogs running around, eating each other, children screaming, women screaming, men screaming. Everything's going berserk. Everything's going crazy. That's what would happen if Kamala Harris ever answered a question directly. The world might end. God himself, or herself, God themselves, the being supreme being, would be like, what just happened? He would turn to Jesus and say, "It's always room for a miracle, son. It's always room for a miracle." That one down there just finally answered a question. It's not blasphemy because it'll never happen, Johnson. She will never answer a question. Folks, the fact that you have Democrats on various platforms saying she did a good job. Puh! Do they know what good job is? Do they have the definition of properly what a good job is? It's not a good job to run around the clock. Brett Baer, I'm so glad he's here. So many people never got to hear this, so she stepped on his rebuttal because his rebuttal was very important here. Not only did they reverse the clamps that Trump had put on the border, they tried to pass a humongous bill that had a lot of pathways to citizenship in it. It was basically an amnesty bill. That's why it didn't pass. Keep going, Mr. Brett. I like you.
A problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General.
How many people crossed the border under you? How many people crossed the border under your watch, border czar lady? How many people crossed the border under your boss's watch? Take it off you. You say you don't want to be responsible? Fine. I thought when you're black, you got to work twice as hard. So you weren't working twice as hard on the border. Okay, my fault. I assumed the saying was true. But let me get this right. You won't give us a number about people that cross the border under you guys, right? This is out.
Of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to.
Yeah, I guess he told the Democrats to kill it too, because they helped kill it. Another thing that hasn't been addressed. I don't think she's doing too good with the independents right now, Johnson. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think she's winning over a lot of voters? Inquiring minds want to know if she's really killing it, because they've been saying how hard she's working and Trump's a lazy bastard because he isn't doing interviews right now. So, yeah. Was she killing it right now? This is going great. You think it's going great, Bakari Sellers? How'd she do, Charlamagne? How's this one? Just take it up the place, baby.
Run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States.
Now we want to know what Brett asked you. We want to know how many millions of undocumented illegal people who were not documented crossed our border. That's what we want to know. We want to know the answer to the question that you're avoiding. They say hundreds of thousands of people. They're saying thousands of people crossed, thousands of people, millions of people crossed the border, thousands of which were criminals, some of which got right out of jail for things like murder. In other words, I won't use because I want to keep the monetization on this content. And Miss Kamala won't even be bothered to answer how many people crossed.
Who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true.
Answer!
It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares.
God, folks, this is going to be excruciating for us to get through. Let me state this for anybody watching so you understand. There was a secure border in place. Not perfect, but it had our immigration under control. The border was under control via executive order. The Biden and Harris administration came in and they removed those. They removed those mechanisms, those executive orders. They rolled them back. When you enter office, you have that ultimatum. You can decide that. They decided to do that. After their supposed legislation that got shot down immediately, that they tried to do initially because people didn't like it, they didn't put the safeguards back in place. See, people that want to come to, the reason why we had 10 million people, real quick, guys, real quick, there were people, because under Trump, he made people stay in Mexico to wait for their amnesty and then get their number called. Then they could come and apply for asylum, or then they could be ruled on. Not come in America, be released into America, and then hope they show up to court. So all those people that were waiting in Mexico. When they changed the executive order, they all crossed the damn border. That's what happened. It was an exact correlation to what Biden and Kamala Harris did. That's why all those people crossed the border. It wasn't people fudging the numbers. If you're a Democratic person, you may actually think that. Because you think Trump does all things that are evil. Anything bad that ever happens in America, you want to draw a line to Trump because you watch CNN and MSNBC. The fact of the matter is, there are those of us who lost family members due to that damn fentanyl to cross that border. And I'm one of those people. And I take this very seriously. Very seriously. And that this woman will not answer that question, that she has the audacity to sit there and not answer a question about a policy that was in place under Trump. You could have just left it alone. But you wanted to prove a point. And now people are not here because of you, Kamala Harris. You know how angering it is. You realize how frustrating it is to hear this all the time from her on the border? Well, you know, it's a direct connection to all the deaths that have taken place around this country, to those drugs coming into this country. And this woman is running for president and won't even be bothered to give you an answer. So anybody watching, trolling me, you're a horrible individual. Let's keep going, Johnson. Get her, Brett. Get her, Brett.
More about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days.
Wow.
So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry.
Wow. Folks, this is my first time seeing this. I'm getting I got a little emotional there, my bad, guys. But that story right there is even more of a direct line. You still think it was a good idea for her to sit down? You still think that they did this because they wanted to or because they had to do it? I think she did this. Kamala's doing this interview because she's behind and she's desperate, so she's willing to risk it all. This narrative that Kamala's doing this because she just wants to talk to people. If she just wanted to talk to independent voters, she'd be answering questions.
For her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual.
Moving right past it. Moved right past it. She still will not address the issue. She still won't address it?
Who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
there were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated.
Wow. Wow, folks. Wow. That has to sting. Her main talking point about the border has been, all of them wanted us to do it. They said it was a great deal. They all signed it. They wanted it passed. They endorsed it. Yeah, they endorsed Trump. Why did they endorse Trump since you had such great ideas? Why did they go with Trump? Let's keep going, Brett. She ain't going to own up to anything. But this is a beautiful, eloquent interview. And you know what, guys? This is how it should be. Presidents should be asked tough questions because presidents do a tough job. Okay? People should be up for scrutiny. Trump should have to answer tough questions. Kamala should have to answer tough questions. Particularly Kamala, because she's an unknown entity. She's never answered tough questions before. Trump, on the other hand, has been in the public eye as a national figure for the last 10 years at least. So it's not even anywhere comparable. Thank you, Brett, for doing that. Let's go back, guys. Before I hit the button, if you haven't hit like, I need you to hit like for us. Hit the like button if you like the content so far. Hit the like button if I'm not too annoying here. I got a little amp. I can't say I won't get amp later, but got a little enraged there. My baby's smiling down on me right now. So it's all good. It's all love. Hit the like button. Let me know that you're here, that you like the show so far. And let's keep going, people. Let's keep going.
And I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support.
Ow! Ow! I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. I'm just imitating how her pride must feel right now. I'm good to go, fine, guys. I'm fine. I'm not suffering any physical pain. But I got to imagine, inside her body right now, it feels like someone just did a soccer ball kick to the stomach. Yo, why no one has put this together? Well, these are going to be a lot tougher than the Charlamagne questions, I can tell you that. These are going to be a lot more tougher questions than the Steve Harvey, the clown car questions of Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, the National Association of Black Journalists, bunch of panderers. Why do I got a feeling Brett Baer's going to have harsher questions than Roland Martin? The moron, the nincompoop, the dum-dum, the hack. Yeah. And look, guys, all I want is the truth. I just want Kamala Harris to tell the truth about what we're getting. You may not like her policy, but you deserve a right. We all have a right to know what the policy is. And you know what? And I reserve the right to change minds. I reserve the right for people to change their minds. All I ask is if you change your mind, you tell us why. Particularly if you want our vote, or if you want our money, or if you want our approval, if you want us to support you. You need to explain why you changed your mind. Let me get this right. Trump is a fascist to these people, but Kamala isn't. She doesn't feel that she has to answer to us. She can go night and day on policy and doesn't feel she should have to say why. And then she chooses someone who supports the policies she used to support, but she says she no longer supports. I don't get it. I don't get it, guys. Maybe I'm being crazy. Let me know if you think I'm going cuckoo, but I don't think I have.
Support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not.
You could not do it as vice president. You did support. You said there is no such thing as an illegal person. And crossing a border is not a crime. That was her exact words. Those were her exact words when she raised millions of dollars running for president. Those were her exact words in 2019.
Do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel.
Perfect. So you were lying back then, too. Let's get this right, guys. She was lying then. When she said she supported that stuff, that was all BS. Bunch of dummies brought it. She never supported it. That's what she's saying. She's saying back then, she didn't support it either. See now, so you can't have it both ways. It's one or the other, Democrats. Was she lying then or is she lying now? Now she prefers to go what she was lying then. One of those has to be true. Was she lying then or lying now? She's saying she was lying then.
To the Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to take
during
responsible for what
his
happened
presidency.
in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries.
What? Did she just say you have to take responsibility for what happened in your administration? Did she realize she's currently in an administration where she takes no responsibility whatsoever? You just said you never advocated for it. I see her sitting there advocating for it, and that was the clip.
Happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment surgeries?
I will follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he...
Not a fear, repulsion. Shame. Outrage. Not fear. That's one thing you Democrats get wrong. This fear stuff. Well, that's, yeah. The homophobic thing, the fear thing. I'm not afraid of anyone. Well, that's not a person. I'm not afraid of people. Systems give me some cause to pause in the Almighty. But no, it's that fear of you, right? It's anger about where our money's going. So let me get this right. We can't get, I don't know. We still got our school districts relying on taxpayer revenue instead of money from the state, so that we can all do well, all our kids in poor areas. But you got money for this shit? So let me get this right. I wonder how many people are committing crimes to go into jail to get the country to pay for them to get reassignment surgery. Get a Brett.
Actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at—
And that ad's effective as hell. That's one of the better ads of this cycle. I mean, kind of gets down to the meat and potatoes of the thing, don't it? To the beans and franks of the issue.
where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people,
we'll
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at—
They hate women. Yeah, talk to white guys the way you talk to black guys during your campaign. The way you and Obama talk to black men. Talk to the white men that way. Go ahead. Go ahead. Be bold. Equal opportunity disrespecter here. Go ahead and be bold. Talk to white guys and disrespect their intellect. Talk to the Asian men the way that you let Obama talk to us, and then you wouldn't say, Obama, chill. Talk to the Native American men the way that you allow Barry Hussein Obama to talk to me and my sons and my friends, my fellow brothers. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and have some heart and talk to them that way. Say that they hate women, that they don't want to be governed by a woman. That's why they want him over you as far as the economy. Go ahead and say it, because that's what you've been saying to black people, and you don't have any problems saying that to us. See the hypocrisy, guys? This is what you deal with. Hit the like button, guys, if you like what I'm putting down. Hit the like button if I add something to the conversation besides interruptions.
An analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States. It has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president.
People care more about their wallets than if everyone's being nice and saying nice things all of the time. Matter of fact, most people who are up against the wall could care less about Twitter. Mean words said on Twitter. They care about if they're going to have what they need to make dinner. They care if they can afford a babysitter. And Lord help them if they'll have enough money if wifey has a litter. See, that's real life stuff. You Democrats want us to focus on, I don't like what he said that time. And then he said this other thing. And people, that's not what pays the bills, baby. No one cares about. You want people to care. The people that care about that more than they care about economics are people who have their economics already taken care of. Because it ain't a person in this world or in this country who has economic problems will be more concerned with, did he use a proper pronoun? Did he use a fork or a spoon? Was that a salad fork he was using? Was his pinky out when he took a sip of the Chardonnay? Was that Merlot? I know that wasn't Merlot. I don't drink no damn Merlot. No one cares. We care about our money because we live in a capitalistic society where veterans freeze on the streets in front of boarded up buildings that have heat in them, that are empty.
Who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decision.
Big Tech and Liz Cheney. Big Tech and Liz Cheney.
That I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald.
Oh, God. Trump has been out of office for almost 4 years. You can't make this up, fam. The ghost of Trump. Trump's in their hands, baby. She's going to sit here on this net. She knows this interview will go everywhere. This ends, her career is over. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like it's over. We're not even done yet, but folks, how did you bounce back from the relentless questions? Give Brett Baer a medal. Give this guy a medal, guys. Give him a medal. Give him a medal. Hit the like button for Brett Baer. He kicked ass here. He's asking all the things. He's asking all the things. All of them, folks. Beautiful, beautiful. In a just world, we could just call this right now. Match set. He's running the Boston, guys. Let's keep going, but I got to tell you, I don't see no coming back from this. She's saying, we need to turn the page. He says, from what? You're in office. The last 10 years, you've been in office for 4 of them. How you come back from that?
Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Literally. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know.
That's the stump speech.
You're just a number. Do you think it's 1 million?
Oh, yeah, the stump speech.
My professional experiences and fresh and new ideas. I bring more capital and access to
capital. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country...
Woo! Woo! Folks, hey, look, I got to say this, Brett. Hey, man, you are batting 1,000, baby. You are killing it. Get this guy, hang his jersey in the rafters at this point. Everything I've been feeling, everything I've been saying, he's answered it and then some. He's questioned her on it, and she's done horribly on it. She's wafted every time. But look, guys, I can't say this rhetoric about Trump is the problem. Like, Trump made us divided. Look, America's divided in a lot of ways. It happened way before Trump. They make Trump scapegoat for everything wrong in the world. You could bang your toe on your bedpost and they'd say, that damn Trump did it. In America, we were segregated for a couple hundred years. Yeah, that's a form of segregation, a form of division that persisted way before Trump. I mean, I guess she's talking about MAGA hats and Hillary Clinton's ovary hats, but those are not the separations or the division I care about. What I care about is the poor, the working class, getting the shaft. So the division I'm most concerned with is economic. Yeah, we need to change the economic division. And we need to be to do some long division on this damn deficit and all this money being spent and why come our racial wealth gap sucks. So as a black man, economically, that's all I'm focused on, baby. I feel like if we can fix our pockets, we fix a lot. There's a reason why most merchants end due to economic problems. There you go. And most everything ends because of economic problems. Progressives need to pull their heads out of their asses.
Country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm.
Yeah, we both know you're talking you're talking babble. This is BS babble right here, folks. So what? Who cares if he's running for office? So what? What's that got to do with what you do in office? Oh, I get it. Trump stopped us from doing stuff we wanted to do. We gotta blame somebody. We're blaming Trump. I feel like I'm in that scene in the Ozarks, baby. You're gonna have to kill me to make me admit I was wrong. You're gonna have to kill me. Somebody come get Kamala. She falling and she can't get up.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade, people have become.
Whoa, Brad, I'm sorry, guys. I'm excited, man. I'm into this. Yo, Brad just hit her. Brad, I want to back up just a little bit, guys. Don't go too far.
That if you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to
Oh, man, she's getting... Oh, God, I feel like I'm watching Rocky. The first Rocky. Come here, Mick, come here. Come here, Mick. Man, this is... I know I'm Asian, but people are like, what is Rocky? You know Rocky. Yo, I don't think I've ever seen anybody burn like this. This, my friends. Yo, hello? Yeah, get a medic. Somebody call now. I'm calling 911. I need a medic to go to Fox Studios. I'm watching a person be beat in front of the public. She's being beat unconscious. This is disgusting what I'm watching here. I'm watching an assault and battery, a journalist on a hack politician.
President Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning.
Everything's about Trump. Everything's about Trump. It's constant Trump. 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 Do the Trump, the Trump. Everything out of her mouth is Donald Trump. She's all out of talking points, guys. Now we got to go on a loop because it's out. She's done. She's clean out.
And engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's
if
not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
so
cakewalk.
Are they misguided, the
for anyone.
50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish.
No, he's got what we call a sense of humor. You may have heard of it. Yeah. You know, sense of humor. He makes jokes, quips, you know, says funny things, you know, sort of like, hey, Kamala, when you want to run for president? So that was supposed to be a joke. You took it seriously. And here we are today.
The American people, he's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
Damn, that's how well he knew she would go to talking about that. Look at her face. Uh-oh. I'm about to be exposed for being a liar and taking people out of context in front of the entire world. All of a sudden, I don't think this was a good idea. Uh-oh. Better get Mako.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you.
That was the question.
No, he's responding to your question. That's him responding to the allegation that he's going to turn the troops on American people. He's saying, no, that's not true. That's all. He's not saying that's the speech.
That we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about...
I should tell people what they know. That's like the fourth time she's told Brett what he knows. No wonder her favorability ratings have gone down. I think they'll go down further after this interview. The more people get to know her, the less they like her.
Turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he...
Now we're going to act like we are so enraged. She wasn't this upset when we talked about the poor girl who was, you know? Yeah, where was this anger? Folks, come on, guys. Where was all this fire and brimstone when he was talking about the poor girl? The mother was talking about her daughter being by somebody who didn't need to be in this country. Huh? There was no passion then. I didn't see any, said it was, I feel really bad about that. Next question. There it goes. But now she's all up in arms because Trump said mean thing on rally. That should try to gaslight us all. Try to gaslight. Come on, guys. Come on.
Lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump...
The significance.
No, we don't give a shit. You're trying to run out the clock and make it like you're trying to gaslight everybody. No one cares about what you said at the rally. We care about our money, lady. What will it take? Does a cinder block gotta fall out the sky with the word money written on it? Hit her on the foot? What's it gonna take? Does a birdie gotta fly through the studio, land on her lap and take a dump in the turds, look like dollar bills for her to get it? What's it gonna take? Does a homeless man gotta run in butt naked with a sign that says, "Give us money"? Stand there in the middle of the stage and shake it for her to get it? What's it gonna take? No one cares about Trump's words said doing his stand-up comedy routine. I know he can be colorful. We don't care. What we care about is the policy. Can it help us? That's what we care about. That's all anybody cares about. We don't care about the rest. It's unfortunate for you because that's all you're running on. It's Trump's mean words. Let's keep going, Johnson. Hey, hit the like button, please. Everybody hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It don't cost a thing if it ain't got that swing, so go ahead and do the thing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Give your brothers some love. Let's go.
You call Donald Trump, he's misguided. You say now
he's
unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
She could talk all this smack about Trump. Biden's older, and she stood by him even though he was physically, obviously, diminished. Not a character flaw. Not a bug, a feature of getting older. You're gonna lose a step. If we're lucky enough to live long enough, we'll all experience it. At that time, maybe you shouldn't be in charge of a military with nuclear weapons. Maybe, just saying. You can still play backgammon and eat ice cream, but maybe there's some jobs you should let somebody else take care of. Not saying you're not useful. But she defended him and lied for 3.5 years. But now she's got all the smoke imaginable for Trump's age. Oh, Trump's old. He's past it. He's delusional. He's not all there. But she would never say that about Biden, even though he dropped out. He dropped out. Brad, thank you, brother. You're doing the Lord's work, sir. Thank you.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his...
She just choked big time, Johnson. She just choked big time. Man, I want to thank everybody who said do this one first. Man, you are amazing, guys. You on point. Man, give it up for the Tim Black Wolf Pack. Man, you guys are great, man. I gotta give it to you. I'm so glad you decided to do the Fox News video first. Remember, after this, we're going to do Charlamagne, so don't go anywhere.
Former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
but those
is,
proxies were getting funded by
my commitment
Iran.
to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates
and then
in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
That we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented.
It should be about you. It's about asking you questions. It's not a conversation about Trump. It's about you, lady. What an entitled prima donna. You are running to be president. Press conferences and interviews, people are trying to assess that. You're just giving us a bunch of word salad and want us to hear about Donald Trump. I hear about Trump when it's time to talk to Trump, and not from you. What I want to hear from you is what's up with Iran. Liar. With all due respect.
About this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision that they feel.
Who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
There's more to say. I have much more to say.
There are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why I
invite everyone to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
and that's why we invited you here
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
and
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Woo! Woo! Folks, I gotta tell you, that was probably the most excruciating interview I've ever witnessed a politician undergo. I don't think I could think of, I'm almost stumped. I can't think of a particular interview that was worse, that could have been more damaging for Kamala Harris at this point. Folks, put it in the comment section. Give me a like, guys, give me a like. Give me a 0 if that's what you thought she scored on this thing. I think she scored a 0. If you think she did well, give me a 1. 0 means she got a 0. 1 means she did all right. I think it was horrific. Wow. Guys, this show is brought to you by the Tim Black Show, not by the Democrats or the Republicans. We just try to call it straight here. This is my No Joe button. If you become a member of the Tim Black Show, a member, a paying member, and you send me, you DM me, and you show me you're a paying member, I'll send you a No Joe button. I've got still maybe 50. I know I got at least 50 here. Maybe 100, maybe. I think we got some upstairs somewhere. I'll check with Mrs. Black, my wifey, and see if we got some more. I'll send you a free No Joe button. No Joe, why it's still relevant? It won't be relevant soon, but it's a good collector's item and it's free. And I'll pay the stamp. I'll pay the stamp just like I did in 2020, in 2019 when I sent those out. I'll pay the postage. So just become a member and I'll send it to you. And yeah. Hit the like button, guys. Sign up, become a subscriber. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Wow. This was the clinic. I have nothing else to say. Brett posed all the questions. No one can say she wasn't given an opportunity to stand up for herself. Brett was respectful, but he was tactful. And he wasn't trying to be her friend. He wasn't trying to kiss her ass. He wasn't trying to dance around it. He was trying to ask the questions. He gave her room to do the explanation. And she would not answer questions. Very few times did she answer anything. She just came with her talking points and that was it. And most of her talking points consisted of Trump bad, Trump evil, Trump did it. I ain't do nothing. Trump did it. I ain't do nothing. Trump did it. That was the whole interview. I'd like to know why she thinks people should give her a vote when she ain't did nothing. That sounded horrible. Why should anybody vote for you if you haven't did anything the last 3 years, 3.5 years? You're not responsible for anything. You didn't do anything, and there's nothing you would do different than what Biden did. But somehow you say it will be a different policy, a different presidency. It won't be a continuation, but you won't tell us how it's different. You won't tell us what you would do differently. It's crazy. Once again, man, big shout out to Brett Baer, man. He took his time. He asked questions we wanted answers to. He didn't let her go down memory lane and talk about the apartment she was living in and when she was a kid and middle class. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Brett, for not allowing her to stay in her comfortable little spot and keep it on that generic BS. That's amazing, guys. Buck, I don't know where we are, guys. We're going to go. We got to cover Charlamagne Tha God. So it's a double banger, guys. We got double the trouble tonight. We just covered Brett Baer, Fox News. Now we got to cover Charlamagne Tha God. I got 4 clips from the Charlamagne sit down with Kamala Harris that we got to go over. Okay. I'm wondering, hey, Buck, how we doing for time, brother? An hour 25? Looking good over here? How my commenters doing? How we doing, fam? We got comments, guys. Folks, hang in there. I got you. I want to keep our people watching because we got a good crowd of people. If you haven't hit like, please. If you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber now. Let's go to Charlamagne Tha God. Let's go to Kamala Harris. I like to open with this. Let's open with the border. Okay, so let me set it up because I'm going to use this clip in the video. Charlamagne Tha God had a guest a friend of his, Kamala Harris, came through. They had a conversation. He asked a couple questions. She pretended to answer them. So let's take a look. First question was about the border.
Doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? But doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? A lot of the blame? Because, I mean, the first 3 years, y'all did get a lot of things wrong with the border.
No, Charlamagne, within hours of being inaugurated, the first bill we passed before we did the Inflation Reduction Act, before we did the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, before we did the Safer Communities Act to deal with gun violence, first thing we dropped was a bill to fix the broken immigration system.
And yeah, so look, guys, for those that don't know, for those of you that don't know, the border was basically more secure than it's been in a long time. Okay. And that was because Donald Trump was able to implement some executive orders. He signed like some 90 executive orders. I think about 20 of them had to do with the border. And when Joe Biden entered office, he turned them all down. Yeah, he cut down all the executive orders that Trump had put in place. And one of those executive orders, particularly, had stopped unlawful or illegal entrance of undocumented immigrants to cross the border and wait for their asylum hearings. And that was an important order because those people were waiting in Mexico or they were waiting south of the border. And when Biden cut that executive order off, all those people came across the border. And because there was no executive order to stop them, we just took their name down and said, okay, fine. And we'll send you paperwork for your hearing. And all those people flooded the border. Folks, I want people to understand this. More people crossed the border during this time of the Biden and Harris administration than any other administration that I could see since Reagan. I don't even know. I mean, that's as far back as the chart went. I'm not saying that Reagan let more people in. I'm saying that's as far as the chart went. Okay, when I looked at the chart, more people crossed the border under Harris and Biden than anybody else. More people crossed the border in these 3 years or 4 years under Biden and Harris than 8 years under Obama. Okay? That's what I'm talking about, fam. So some people say 6 million, some people say 10 million, some people say more. She won't answer the question, but it's a damn good question, and it's a question you should answer if you want to be president of the United States. Let's go to the next question. Next question. Is this reparations? Let's go to reparations, guys. Let's get the big one out the way.
You know, off the backs of free black labor. My question to you is, what's your stance on reparations? We all know that America became great, you know, off the backs of free black labor. How progressive are you on making it a priority and righting America's wrongs? It's understood that you are running for president for all people of America. Asking for specifics for black communities doesn't mean don't do for others, but black Americans are heavily asked to vote Democrat in every election for over half a century with very little in return. What are your plans to address these very important issues and change that narrative?
Thank you, Zeke.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your work. So to your point, yes, I am running to be a president for all Americans. That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister. And by the time I was in high school.
All right, that's it. She won't answer the question. Folks, the level of disrespect that is demonstrated here by Kamala Harris. I can't stress enough how disgusting it is. Here's the deal, guys. Kamala Harris does not support reparations. She supports looking like she supports reparations. Because a person that supported reparations would say, I support reparations so much, I'm going to sign an executive order that will appoint a commission to study it. Because that a president can do. It doesn't put money in anyone's pocket, but it's a step forward. What she said at the National Association of Black Journalists was she would not sign that by executive order. She would not put together a commission on her own. So basically, she doesn't support it. She said she supported it because that's what you got to do to make people think you support it. So that people, when they ask you, you can say, hey, I support Black people. But you really don't. Here's the deal, guys. I prefer for a person to tell me the truth than to lie to my ass. Kamala is a liar. She tells people that she supports a process or a piece of legislation that she doesn't support. Look, I support reparations. I damn sure support a study. A study should have happened 20 years ago. The fact that we're still talking about studying this is stupid. But okay, that's the least you could do is study it. You should have been did that. No one told the Israel people, oh, we should look into it. We'll get to it. We'll take a look. No one told the Native Americans, oh, we'll look into it. Or we'll get to it. Let's think about it. No one told the Asian folks, the people held in internment camps, oh, we'll look into it. Or we'll see what we can do about looking into it. They're telling Black people, we'll see what we can do about looking into it. And by the way, guys, we ain't just talking about slavery. We talking about Jim Crow. Jim Crow, you know, that whole time when Black people didn't have rights in America, basically, you know, like up until like 65, 1970 or so, that entire time. So it's not just slavery. Because we know a lot of the cowardly people that happen to be African American too don't want to tell the truth because they want to keep their white audiences. I say, if I got an audience member that's got a problem with me running recourse for my people, but meanwhile they come from a group of people that got recourse for their own issues, I don't want them. I don't want anybody who doesn't respect me to care about what happens to me and my kids. You care about your kids, don't you? If somebody owes you $50, some of you guys will be out in the street ready to knock somebody's head in. How could you respect a Black man in America who doesn't respect himself enough to say, hey, my dad should have got that, my granddad should have got his GI Bill? How could you even respect him? How could you say that you respect them as men and women if they won't do that because they're afraid of your backlash? So Kamala Harris is a phony. And once again, if someone really doesn't support it, I'd rather they be honest. Admit where you stand. That's all. Admit where you are, Kamala Harris. Admit it. Tell the truth about who you are and what you stand for. Nobody hates, very few things that you hate more than a liar. All right, let's keep going, guys. Kamala Harris. But let's see what this one is. I forget which one this one is.
Can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say it. You have two choices, or you don't vote, but you have two choices if you do. And it's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people, investing in their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
Yeah, how about we not say it because it's stupid? You know, like, we got so many points. We got so many points, man. And I want people to really know. Fascism. Let's use the actual definition. Shall we? Fascism is a far-right authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement, characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived goal of good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy, opposed to anarchism, democracy, pluralism, egalitarianism, liberalism, socialism, and Marxism. Fascism is placed on the far right wing within a traditional left-right spectrum. What do you call a liberal, a person that says they're liberal? I don't even know if they're liberal. I think that both parties have some fascist tendencies to them. It's not just one person. A dictatorial leader. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that applies to the Democrats as well. I feel like that's how we get treated. We get treated like they're the boss and we're the worker bees. I don't really see a difference between how the parties operate. I really don't. That's why we call it the uniparty. Subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race. Yeah, you don't think it's fascistic to try to make everyone agree with certain lifestyles or certain belief systems that other people's have? That's not fascist? That you want to change my language, that I have to mold it, or I'm a bad person, I'm a horrible individual? Like, dude, I grew up not using all these pronouns and shit. If I don't use them correctly, I'm labeled all types of horrible things, but I could care less how you spend your time or whatever you do. Be happy, man. But you want to control my language and change it and make it conform to something because you want it to be a certain way. And you say that's for the good of the country. That's what you say. That's not fascism. It doesn't really matter what you label it. We don't want it. We don't want people telling us how we had to talk, live our lives, how we had to. Nobody wants that. They like to get hung up on this labeling thing. But see, when they get to comparing Trump to Hitler, it sounds so like gaslighting of people. And that's why people say it's caused so many problems throughout this country with the people that have attempted on his life, because first of all, it's not true. It's just not. We know what Hitler did. And it's like the comparison is disgusting. The ghost of Hitler should come back and smack you 3 times. Like the people that died during that time, I would think that would be considered disrespectful. For you to compare Trump or frankly any other US president in the last 50 years or 60 years to that. They may have a lot of problems. And definitely not no saint. Trump is definitely not a saint. But hey. And another thing. What do you call a president who drops bombs on innocent people, besides war criminal? What do you call a president that does extrajudicial killings by the way of drone on U.S. citizens without trials? Would that be considered dictatorial? Obama did those things. But she would never call him fascist. You don't think that's a fascist belief? I think it is. Let's keep going, guys. I think I got one more.
One thing they've been saying, a lot of your press hits get criticized. You know, folks say you come off as very scripted. They say you like to stick to your talking points. And some media says you have...
That would be called discipline.
Oh, okay. Speak to that.
But go on.
No, I was going to say, some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But, what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
Hasn't Maya Rudolph been wonderful?
Yes.
I think I have nothing but admiration for the comedy, and I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself and each other.
But what do you say to people who say
in the spirit of obviously comedy and not belittling people as my opponent would do?
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
You know,
I would say you're
belittling and comedy, all depends on who's doing it and how butthurt you are. You know, because the roast is a belittling. Like, for instance, I think Charlamagne is a hack and he knows it, and I think he is unscrupulous and unethical in so many ways. But whoever, I don't know why, like, he just landed in this position where he gets this power that he didn't ask for, and he only got it because he's pliable. Like, if he actually stood up for anybody in any real amount, there'd be so much dirt that comes out about him to destroy him. It would happen so fast your head would spin. So he's just doing what he has to do to get his money. I'm not condoning it nor agreeing with it. I'm saying it's disgusting. And that's a roast. That's me calling it out. I guess you could laugh if you thought it was funny, but it ain't funny to me. Kamala Harris, when they say that you are scripted, they don't mean you stay consistent in your speaking about certain issues. They mean when we ask you a question that's totally unrelated to your stump speech, you go back to the stump speech, sister. That's not the same thing. And Charlamagne, once again, being a hack, you want to articulate the difference. Because you know damn well that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about one potato, two potato. We're not talking about memorizing the planets. We're talking about when we ask you a question and you run all the way down the block, all the way down the street, around the corner, stop by the 7-Eleven, stop by the 5 and Dime, stop by the grocery store, pick up a couple things, stop by the deli, grab a couple sandwiches, stop by the bakery, blah, 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 all to come back and tell us the same tired stump stuff when it doesn't even apply. That's the problem. That's disgusting hackery and also word salad. That's not a bonus. That's not good. That's not consistency. That's not discipline. Unless you consider being a hack a discipline, being a obfuscator, being a cover-upper, being a dishonest person. That's what you're doing. You're avoiding criticism. And you're scheming and plotting to avoid answering. That's not good. Here goes a clip from CNN. Bakari Sellers was with Abby Phillip and they had a conversation here. And I just put this in because it's the same topic. And I just want to let Bakari know that we saw how corny he is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't couch it as a friendly interview. Or, I mean, I think you have to look at the substance of the question.
Abby says that the interview that Kamala had with Charlamagne was a friendly interview. And Bakari is going to deny it. Yeah, he's going to deny that that Charlamagne sitting down with, that it was a friendly interview. Here we go.
Feel like they can trust her.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't couch it as a friendly interview. Or, I mean, I think you have to look at the substance of the question.
He literally endorsed her, so I think that is described as a friendly interview.
Respectfully, it was substantive, right? And I think that, and I think it's very substantive. I think that her answers were thoughtful. I thought that she got off talking points. Even Charlamagne at one point said, how do you feel about people who say that you stick to your talking points? And she said, that's what I call discipline.
I love it.
And you know,
she just said she loved it and she thought it was great. She thought it was great to say I'm disciplined. That's why I bring up my stump speech when you ask me anything. That's why I keep talking about my goddamn house where my mom raised us and a lady that lived down the street. As if anybody gives a flying fuck about it. Bunch of hacks. Lazy, lame hacks and make black people look horrible. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to need you to go get Bakari's goddamn black card. And whoever this woman is with this straight hair, get her shit too. Take it immediately. Yeah, her. It's on the screen. Go get her damn black card. If I don't have her black card by the end of the day, you're fired. I wish I had such powers, but then I'd be a fascist.
That's what I call discipline.
I love it.
And you know, you just kind of go through that. It was a clear contrast. But even more importantly, when we talk about her going to Charlamagne and speaking directly to voters, and you know, you just kind of go through that. It was a
Lord have mercy, Johnson. That's it. Hey, folks. The hackery of the crackery is on display, man. I got no more words for it, guys. It was horrible. It was pathetic. Charlamagne Tha God, you should be ashamed of yourself. But I guess if you stood up for anything, you wouldn't be Charlamagne. You'd just be Leonard, the guy who used to have a radio show. Because the Democrats have made it very clear that anybody that gets out of line goes night-night. So, but it's still pathetic what you did. It was a horrible interview. And no, I haven't heard the whole thing, but what I heard was bad. You pretend to be trying to ask a tough question. You don't follow up. You don't really ask a tough question. If you are leading her into friendly waters, that's not what interviews are for. So, okay, I get it. When Kamala loses, part of the reason why she's going to lose is because of shit like this. Because you can't cheat your way into this. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section, but I want to know first I want to know, have you hit the like button? Twitter? Facebook? I need you to come over and hit the like button, folks. Come hit the like button. Give me some thumbs up, folks. Give me some thumbs up. We're trying to get to 600. It's real important that we get to 600. We got to let the algorithm know that we had a good show tonight. So they'll continue to send us out to other people so that we can continue to grow and be able to speak the truth to power, man. I say the Democratic Party is the greater evil. That's my opinion, because nobody lies like Democrats. And I'm fed up with it. And I'm going to call it out every time. All right, guys, let's go to comment section. My people, my people, my people. $118. Debbie, super sticker. Thank you, 118. Revelator, this politically dirty macking Kamala doing is not going to work. No, it's not going to work, Johnson. Diablo Mix. Kamala thinks she'll survive 2 hours on Rogan. Hell nah. You're doing a great job, Tim. We love your commentary. Thank you, Gifty Cine. Gifty Cine, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Tisha, we need to be able to afford our cornbread. There it is. Black Mamba in the house. Super sicker. Thank you, Black Mamba. Kermit Froggy became a YouTube member. Kermit, what's up, Kermit? Tony B, what's up, Tony? Love your show. Love you back, fam. Thank you. I need to be unburdened by what... I need to be unburdened by what has been. Ryan, fascism should more appropriately be called corporatism because it's a merger of state and corporate power. We need to Mussolini, and I agree with that. I do. Yeah, I agree. For them to try to float off this idea that it's a one side of the equation, this neoliberalism. I thought I would consider that to be more like neoliberalism, which is corporations basically using corporations to solve government issues or issues of the society being solved by government opportunity, by corporations that get to profit from those by those needs and wants of the people. You know what I'm saying? Neoliberalism, like the private prison industry is one thing. Healthcare is another thing. These solutions that they have, this free market BS, and let the market take care of it. Let the market, yeah. And the market does take care of it. Get the money coming, the money coming, the money coming. All right. Great show tonight, guys. You did your thing. Amazing. Remember, guys, we do this every day at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm on a run. I'm on a streak. I got the best community. We're growing. Go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, become a member of the Tim Black Show. Be a paying member. Support independent media. Keep me independent. I'm much nicer that way. I can look in the mirror that way. You know, my back is straight. I'm able to stand up for us. I'm punching them in the gut every time out. Keep independent media independent. Share this show with a friend. Yeah, share me with a friend. Tell them, hey, Tim Black Show was out here. He's doing his thing. Tim Black is doing his thing. Go to timblacktv.com. That's my website. I got a free ebook. Anybody can get it. It's presidentialimpact.com is where you go get it. Presidentialimpact.com, guys. Go get your copy. If you don't have your copy, please go get your copy. All right? It's about what presidents can do without Congress. See, Kamala and Biden all complain about Congress. But you know what Trump did when he was president? The same thing Obama did when he was president. This pen. Go to presidentialimpact.com and find out what presidents have done for hundreds of years in this country when Congress wouldn't work with them. It's important for you to know that when Roland Martin is lying to you, when Representative Crockett is lying to you, when Kamala Harris is lying to you, the presidents have got things done without Congress. All right. What else we got, Buck? We okay, Buck? Did we get to 600, Buck? Hope we got to at least 600 likes, thumbs up. Did we get to 600 thumbs up? I hope we did. Our hands build everything. Thank you, Our Hands Build Everything. I appreciate that. Thanks for supporting this. Thank you for supporting this show, fam. All right, guys, I almost don't want to leave, man. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys for being here. Obama is not ADOS. No, Obama is not ADOS. It's called executive orders. And there's some more stuff in there, Resurrect Men's. Get the book, man. I got other things. One of them is executive orders, but I got 9 others. So go get the book, man. It's free. It's on me. Presidentialimpact.com. It's a short read, fam, but I got proof. I got receipts in it. So go check it out. Real talk. No doubt. I appreciate you, man. Christine, Uli, what's up, Uli? Almost 3 times. What? Almost 1,800 thumbs up? Wait till they see us tomorrow. We're going to come back with some more fire tomorrow, guys. We building something here. Burger Bob, refresh, Tim, refresh. That's what it is. Her audience would be questionable, though. I don't know what that is. Tobias Grove, thank you. Once again, guys, let me get out of here. But first, I got to say thank you to all the people that make this show possible. Shout out to my man, Buck Bewley. Thank you, Buck, for being a moderator, brother. I also want to thank Iron Man Oz for what you do. I want to thank the amazing Mrs. Black for what she does, allowing me, well, being a good supporter, a great supporter, a great partner while I do this crazy business. This is crazy. I used to be in the computer business over a decade ago, and I left it to do this. Good thing I'm the right kind of crazy, baby. I'm crazy. All right, guys. Number love for you. Thank you to all the people that support this channel. It's so many of you that support the channel. They are members on here on Facebook, members here on YouTube. If you're on Twitter and Facebook, come on over to YouTube, guys. Join us on Patreon. Patreon.com, Tim Steak Live. Thank you for making this show possible. This ain't a one-man job. This is several people's job. So thank you, Buck, for helping. And it definitely ain't it takes all the audience people being involved. My people in the chat who show up and keep coming back and keep supporting the show. They stay with me when the algorithm hated my ass. Thank you for supporting the show. Number love for you. All right, fam. I will see you on the next one. Over 50 and Fantabulous. 1,500 likes. Great show, Brother Tim. Thank you. Over 50. Now I got to edit it and put it out. I see you soon. Respect. Man, that was a good show, man. That was an excellent show. Now, if I could just find out where my girls are, I'll be okay. Where's my ladies at?
Now, there you go. I can wait till it's my turn.